Welcome back, guys, to another week of Excel Performance. This week we are looking all at ankle mobility. Now, this is the ankle joint. We've got the tibia in the front here, or the shin bone, the talus underneath. Together these form the talocrural joint. Now, the talocrural joint is responsible for dorsiflexion, which is that motion there, and plantarflexion, which is that motion there. Now, with sports, repetitive use, high impact activity, even aging, what we can get is irregularities on the surface of the talus, which can limit dorsiflexion and plantarflexion, as well as the joint capsule and the tissues around it starting to constrict. And when we get this compression through the joint, what we'll often feel is when we're coming into dorsiflexion, you'll notice you feel a pinch in the front, or in some cases, through plantarflexion, you'll feel a pinch in the back of the joint here. So today's program, guys, is based around mobilizing this joint. So we are number one going to traction the joint just a little bit and then start to mobilize the tissues, and by the end, add a little bit of stability and strength into this to hopefully create a better and more controlled ankle movement for yourself. So I hope you enjoy today's program, guys. I hope the ankle mobility starts to improve, you get more control, and whether it's sporting performance or everyday usage, you find this beneficial. All right, guys, enjoy. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, so we are using a heavy resistance band today. So if you've got something similar to this, that's great. If it's a little thinner, that's still okay. So we're hooking it around something that's going to be firmly attached to the ground, and then we're going to place it in the crease of the ankle, so across that talocrural joint. Try and get it as low as possible. Wriggle the foot out as far as possible so you've got quite a lot of resistance pulling on that tibia. And then from here, we're going to place the chest on the knee. As we rock forward, we're driving that chest down into the knee and trying to keep all of the weight in the heel. So if you come too far forward, you're going to find that that heel starts to lift off the ground. So keep it gentle to begin with and then start to increase that mobility. And as we rock forward with that band, we're going to get a little posterior glide of the tibia, which should hopefully help free up the ankle and increase that mobility. So we're completing 10 repetitions on each side here, nice and slow. So rock forward, keep it controlled, make sure that heel stays down, coming back, breathing in through the nose, coming forward, breathing out through the mouth. So keep the control. Focus on driving that chest into the knee, increasing the mobility a little bit more on each rep. After the 10 reps, we are going to change sides, same thing. So when we hook it around the ankle, we want it as low in that crease as possible. Then from here, wriggle the foot out or grab the resistance band and allow your foot to come as far forward as possible, because we do want a lot of resistance against that tibia. So once again, we're going to start to rock forward. Chest and weight of the torso goes over the knee, and make sure as we rock forward that heel stays glued to the ground. So rocking forward, heel glued to the ground, keeping the control. We don't want to approach either of the barriers too fast, so we're coming really slowly into it and really slowly out of it. So 10 repetitions on this side. Make sure you go at your own pace. Use your breath. Remember, with the breath out, we're trying to get more into the stretch and increase the mobility. So using that exhale to increase the ankle mobility. And as we approach 10 here, guys, keep the speed nice and slow. Keep everything controlled. And great, coming slowly out from there. Okay, guys, so for this next one, we are using the exact same resistance band. We're going to start off by placing our heel in the middle of the resistance band and then crisscrossing the resistance band over the top of our foot. With the crisscross, you should find that the top of the crisscross is straight in that crease of the foot, or the talocrural joint. Now, what we're going to complete here is 10 foot pumps. So we're really focusing on the dorsiflexion phase, which is the toes coming up towards the head, and we're trying to get as much leverage here as possible. So what we're actually doing here is as we go into dorsiflexion, we're hopefully getting a little bit of traction through the band. So if there are any incongruencies on the surface of the actual joint, this should hopefully start to free them up. So after 10 repetitions, we're going to change sides. Once again, place the heel through, crisscross over the top of the foot, and make sure that top of the crisscross is right in the crease of the front of the ankle. So wobble yourself out so you've got a lot of resistance into the band, and then let's complete 10 repetitions again. So keep the repetitions slow. Make sure the foot's going in a straight line so the foot's not crooked at all. And you're pulling those toes straight back towards your head and then releasing slowly. You should feel there is a fair bit of force pulling that ankle away from you. And we're keeping things as slow and controlled as possible. So 10 repetitions here, guys. Go at your own pace. And we should feel that ankle mobility is starting to improve. Okay guys, so for this next one, if you have a box, that's great. If not, use a step, yoga brick, get creative at home. And all we're doing here is an exercise you're probably familiar with, calf raises. But what we're focusing on here is the eccentric phase, so the down phase. So we should be coming up over 2 seconds, dropping down over 5 seconds, trying to get that strength into more mobility. And then after 5 repetitions, we're going to come up on both legs and then drop on the single leg. So use both legs to come up, dropping down on the single leg over 5 seconds. As we do this, we want to make sure the knee stays nice and straight. You're holding onto a wall or a bench top, something close by to make sure you're nice and stable. And then really on each rep, letting that heel drop further and further down towards the ground. So after completing the last rep here, so dropping down, we're going to come up and then switch into the other side. So try and focus. You'll find the first few reps are probably a little bit more stiff, but we should start to loosen up throughout. So use the exhale as we come down. Make sure we're trying to stick to that 5 seconds down. So keep the control. Don't let yourself slip down too fast. And great, guys. Coming in for the last rep here. Dropping that heel down. And great work. Okay, guys. So same setup for this next one. However, we are going to complete this with bent knees. So as you can see, we drop down, drop the knees forward, and then back into a straightened position. Each time we come forward and go back, we're trying to keep those heels as low as possible. And what this effectively is going to do is stretch a muscle that lies right under the calf muscle, the soleus muscle. And this muscle plays a huge role in ankle mobility. So as we sink forward, sink the knees as far forward as possible, we're trying to keep those heels as low as possible. As we go into a straightened leg position, we're dropping the heels down as far as possible. So the whole time, we're imagining the heels are sinking to the ground, and we're trying to get as much mobility through all phases of this motion. Okay guys, so for this next one, we're using a Dura disc. If you don't have a Dura disc, you can use a pillow or 2 pillows stacked on top of each other, something to create a little bit of instability. Now what we're going to be doing here is keeping a straight knee, rocking the weight into the toes, and then slowly back into the heels. So effectively, we are increasing the amount of ankle stability here while we're moving the ankle into mobility. So for those who are in any sort of sports, this is a great one to strengthen your ankle to avoid any ligament injuries you may get. So after you complete those 10 repetitions, we change into the other side and complete the same thing again. Keep the control, keep the foot roll really slow. Make sure that knee stays pretty straight and you're holding something, a wall, a box, something in front of you just to make sure you don't lose balance. Keep the motion really slow, everything controlled. You're gonna feel the shakes start to come on. And after 10 repetitions, coming out from there. So keeping the Dura disc, all the pillows there. Now we're going to go into a 20-second hold with a bent knee. So here we're trying to focus on keeping the foot as flat as possible. You're going to feel it start to tip one way and then the other way. You've got to keep finding your way back to neutral. So holding here for 20 seconds, keep focusing on finding neutral. Use those intrinsic muscles around the foot to keep things as balanced as possible. After 20 seconds, let's go on to the other side. So changing sides, you're probably going to find that one side is a little bit more shaky than the other. I've actually done ligaments in this right side previously, so you can probably see that my right side is very shaky. So after the 20 seconds here, we're going to slowly come to an end in 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so for this next one, guys, we don't need any equipment whatsoever, and we are effectively working our ankle into dorsiflexion on 3 different planes. As you can see, I've got my right leg as a guiding leg, and the left leg is working the ankle dorsiflexion on these 3 planes. So to the center, knee goes straight forward on the left leg, knee goes in, straight forward, and then to the side here. And if you look at my left ankle, it's working on 3 different planes into dorsiflexion. So you bring that knee across, bring that knee to the center, and bring that knee outwards and increase the amount of dorsiflexion. Now, if that's too hard to balance, what you can do is instead, as I'm doing just here, just step through. So you're still working those 3 different planes, but instead of just touching down and keeping the balance on the single leg, you're stepping and creating a lot more stability. So changing sides here, grounding on the right side, stepping through on the left. So the same thing applies. That step through or the touch with the left foot is just to guide the right knee and effectively work the ankle into dorsiflexion on different planes. So for anyone who does a lot of sport, this is very important. And if we only work on that one center plane, it's not going to work for us all the time. And we're going to end up with ligament injuries and lack of control. So this is really important for us to grow and strengthen in. So as we come through this, we should be starting to feel a little bit of a burn through the ankles. It gets quite tricky. And then once again, if you're struggling on this side, you can just do the step, which makes it a lot easier. You get the same amount of dorsiflexion. Then what we want to focus here is that we keep that back heel locked into the ground at all times. So if you're lifting through your back heel, we're not getting we're not doing the exercise in the right manner. Okay guys, hope you found the ankle mobility program really beneficial today. Whether it's sporting performance, just everyday use, I really hope the mobility starts to improve, but you also start to strengthen into the mobility. So that's why it's important to continue this over the next 6 weeks, and then we'll start to see solid improvements. So keep it up guys. Write in the comment section, how are you going with all these mobility programs? Let me know what you guys want. If there's a specific program, I'll try and cover it in future weeks. But take care guys, we'll see you again next week. Thank you.